when people choose to ride with Eugene Springfield instead of Western Lane, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. Hey, I'll pay you guys to come ride with me.
Oh.
Why has he changed his tune?
Because things are changing, because now I'm getting involved with...
Now you're more invested in the class, is that what it is?
No, definitely not. They should all know that I'm definitely
More
not invested.
ownership of it?
Nope.
On Moodle, in the last week on the Thursday, which is when it's due, your papers and your little presentation, there's a document, if you haven't seen it, that explains exactly how to write the paper and what to do for that little format presentation. Make sure you pay attention to that. And I need to let you know that even though this is a draft, I'm expecting it to be a draft, right? But at the same time, you should make it grammatically correct, and it'll be ran through a service to check for things like that. So do a good job. Use your good writing 121 skills.
How many hours does it require?
2 times 5.
4 times 5. Less than 120.
Where did you say that was in Moodle again?
What's that?
Where did you say that was in Moodle?
On the DV?
Mark.
Yeah.
Gooey.
On week 11.
Okay, what are we talking about today?
Show.
Birds and bees. Okay. Once upon a time. Oh, you're gonna record me? Oh fuck, now we're gonna Really? Okay. So, yeah, internship sites. It's looking good if you're willing to go out of state. I know my spelling sucks. Somebody has beautiful writing, but anyways. Chris, how many students are you going to be able to take?
Hold on. You do that?
Okay.
I'll give you the rough estimate if I get my way.
So let's start locally. So Eugene has said that they'll take 2 students. Lane Fire will take their regular 3. Western Lane will take our regular 3. That's 1 student on each shift. We are 4896s for LFA and Eugene. Sweet Home, Zach Harney did his internship there last year. I had a really good experience. Actually, was one of the first students to finish, but he's a volunteer there, so I didn't know if he had an in to get his stuff done early. But he had a pretty good experience. Roseburg's now he didn't definitely tell me he had 6 spots, but he said I had 24 spots
For 2 schools.
for 2 schools. So what I did is I took all of Lower Umpqua students and just deducted it from the 24, and that left us about 6 spots for. You're so full of shit.
You're a liar.
How is that?
What?
Yeah, right.
No way.
You are
Is that
so
one?
bad.
Hey, you guys go ahead. Just
Is
go
that-
ride somewhere else.
Are you serious?
Each
I
medic.
created a plan, and I wrote my plan out in front of the training chief. And
I want to see the text that you just sent.
All right.
No, I was looking at my ELOG.
Oh my
My roster. I was looking at my roster. I'll show you.
I was gonna drink this weekend for sadness, but now I'm gonna drink for happiness. So,
Can I
that's
join
fair.
you?
Look at my roster there.
So,
I'm looking at medic slots. I'm looking at where the probies were.
Don't count on 18 just yet.
No,
But,
so where we're at.
and at the same time, it doesn't change some of the other issues that I've talked to some of you about, right? Getting out of here and doing some stuff.
Don't get out of here.
So Sweet
I'll embrace you all.
I think Sweet Home is a lot like Western Lane, but not as advanced in their EMS. They're a good fire department, but I think their call volume is about 3,000, 2,000, or 4,000 a year. Roseburg, again, 6 spots back to Roseburg. The experience there, you are riding with the private agency, so their medics down there aren't as high caliber, say, as Eugene or some of the more public agencies. Salem just got a contract with Salem. They don't have a very experienced pool of people. So you actually may go into an internship in fall and be a better medic than the one that's trying to teach you.
Great.
That sounds like a blast.
And so
Don't worry,
you can totally,
you guys don't have that.
you can totally go in there and own that internship and are guaranteed a job at the end of it.
Thanks, Chris.
build you up and he'll break you
I
down.
was gonna say, you guys know I love you. Come on.
So Bend, I'm a little pissed off because, so in Bend, they work 48.96. So if you're a medic on Bend, your first day is on the medic unit, 24 hours on the medic unit. Your second day is on the engine, which is a pretty good system. So you kind of alleviate or decrease burnout. You're not on the medic unit running 24 calls every 24 hours. Problem is I was trying to get it so our students could stay there for the full 48. Yeah, that medic goes to the engine, but can he still precept, you know, indirectly off the engine, running calls with the medic and reviewing charts? And they said no, and we have an academy going. So basically, if you want to go to Bend, you're going to work the first day 24 hours on, and you're going to have 5 days off. You're going to work his first day, 5 days off. So it could take you about 3 to 4 months to get your internship done, just to get your 350 hours. Does that make sense? 350 divided by 24, I figured out it was about 14.33 months.
Shifts.
Shifts. Sorry.
Which ends up being 1 a week.
So, not really.
You are working with just one person.
I'm encouraged that we have a contract with Ben. I think it's a great agency. They probably do a good job, but that schedule sucks.
In your write-up, though, you said that they might be willing to work with somebody if they feel you're at.
So
Is
one
that a thing?
preceptor for
That's
sure.
changed since the text I got
Okay.
yesterday from their training officer.
Okay.
So it's a hard
They're like, well, we have an academy going, so basically the BC says no, just 24 hours.
Okay.
So it sucks. I mean, it's possible that you could start riding there and they let you ride more. Yeah, but
It's a big gamble.
it's a gamble.
Okay.
Let's see what it says. They still want only 24 hours. We'll be having our own people doing internships as well, so it will be a lot going on with an academy as well. And he wrote, honestly, maybe better off a different place if they want it done quicker, but it's up to them. It'll be a very busy
I
summer,
mean, they got Central Oregon over there too, trying to ride it as well, right?
probably.
Yeah.
But I know where that is. So where are we at? Bend, Mercy Flights, 2 people. They're willing to take 2. You saw Marcus's presentation. Looks like a freaking great agency, great opportunities. I'm surprised he's just taking 2, but he's a lot of talk. It's 2 years in a row he's only offered 2 positions. When he first talked to the class, he's like, we'll take all 24 of you last year. I'm like, how many students you want to take? We'll take 2. I'm like, sorry. I'm gonna swear a lot today, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It shows your passion.
Did you have a question?
I think you just answered it, just from the difference from what was originally listed, if they're taking like 4 or 5 people, and now taking only 2.
I mean, I can see in a week or so, hey, is there any way you can take more? We'll see what the form, you guys are gonna fill out a form on your preference, and we'll see where we're at there. And if I have more, like, there, I'll say, hey, I got 5 people that really wanna come here, can you make room for us, and see if that can happen.
Do they run 12-hour shifts? I'm sorry, they run 12-hour shifts, do they run on 12 hours and you take a day off, 12 hours? Or how many
7
days?
on, 3
How do
on,
they
4
run
off.
12?
I think it's 12 on, 12 off.
Yeah, but how many days in a row?
I think it's modified, so you do 3 12s and you're off 4, then you do 4 12s and you're off 3. I can check with that, I don't know for sure.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
He said they were going to 7 on, 7 off.
You may have a question you have. Okay, go.
I remember when they were talking about Mercy Flights, he mentioned that if you're willing to wait until September, there'll be a lot more slots. Is that still a thing?
Hey, Corey.
I don't know if he wants you to wait that long.
Three questions, go! 3 questions, go!
He's asking,
Who's he?
Mercy Flights.
Of course it's Andrew.
Andrew
Second
asked-
shoulders.
Andrew's asking, Mercy Flight says if you want to ride in September, there's a lot more opportunities. Is that a possibility?
Such a lie.
Because you specifically want to go to Mercy,
Yes.
and you wouldn't want to start earlier at Mercy?
No, because there's only 2 spots.
So you're assuming that there are more than 2 people here that want to go to Mercy also?
Yes.
Is that what you're
It's
trying
just
to
a
say?
hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
I mean, it can be worked out that way. Remember what I said yesterday, though? Just realize that, right? If you have a window of time that you're not doing anything, we gotta have you doing something. So you'd expect to be doing periodic ER shifts and then making sure that we evaluate your skills before you walk up there, just to make sure you're set, so.
By the way, I still have 2 students from last year interning right now.
Yeah, and
There?
it pushes us a little bit on the
Gene
internship
and
time,
LJ.
because we have to kind of justify why it's taking you so long. You're supposed to be done by mid-September. So we'd have to, it's possible.
Okay.
It would be possible. We just need to talk a little bit.
So yeah, I have 2 students currently writing right now. One started very late. One student was the first student to go to Hawaii. Went to Hawaii in August. Then came back and got hired on the BLS car, had to go through academy and took 3 months off. And then started to be able to ride in Eugene, then took another 2 weeks, and then took another 2 weeks. So
We'll never do that
they brought it upon themselves. So
We'll never do that again.
We are not doing that again. We are now have rules with their names on them. So yeah. And that's what scares me is I'm tired of this being drawn out, for as long. And the other thing is there's huge value in completing your class, going right into your internship versus waiting. If you wait, all those things that you put in your brain you lose. So. Any other questions before we move on? Yes.
Yeah, do you have start times for any of them, like May, sometime in
I've
May?
told all these agencies that middle of May is possible start time or beginning 1st of June.
Okay.
So it'd be right after the next term.
Okay.
Yes.
What are the hours for Mercy?
Mercy Flights, I believe we just said it was 12 on, or 24, or 12 on, is it 12 off?
It was like you do
3
4
days.
days of 12 shifts, you get 3 days off. Next week you do 3 days of 12 shifts, you get 4 days off.
So, yeah, 3, 4, 3, whatever.
Then he had said they were thinking about going 7 on, 7 off, but that they hadn't gone to that yet.
Vancouver, 5 spots. It's kind of the similar schedule, I believe. John came and talked to you about how to do an interview, prepare for interviews, whatever. Yeah.
I think it's 2 days on and then 3 or 4 days on. 12-hour shifts.
Just 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
They're busy. I will say that Western Lane over the last week has had about 5 or 7 transfers up to Vancouver. Suck ass. Yeah, it was not fun. But I was in the ER and they had 3 ambulances coming and going. They seem very, very busy. And it looks like a really good agency. Like I said, from my buddy who used to be base manager at Life Flight that now works there. So they look like a pretty good agency. Where are we? 5 spots in Atlanta. The guy from Atlanta has been very responsive to me. He's like, hey, I need all this, I need 5 pieces of information from your medical director. And within like an hour, I had it all. Seems like he's got his crap together. They have 3 sites that they would place 5 students. I don't know what that means. It's a big, huge area, lots of ambulances. You will get to see what the EMS is like in the south. A little bit more culturally diverse than Eugene Springfield area. Which could be huge, and maybe good on a resume. I did my internship in Atlanta, and this is what I learned, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, Andrew?
Do you know what counties AMR Atlanta is in?
I'm fine.
To the side.
Wow. It might be 3 counties that you're talking about. It's a big, huge division. And I don't know if you're in the city exactly in Atlanta, or if you're
Yeah, because I read that the Grady Hospital does the metropolitan Atlanta, and then there's like the adjacent counties, DeKalb and Fulton, I guess, that AMR has a contract for. Still super busy. But.
Yeah, you will be busy. And unfortunately, with all of these agencies, you do get a lot of BLS transfers that you're not going to be able to count toward your call count. So that just happens.
Do you know what the schedule is for that one?
I do not. I'm assuming they're 12-hour shifts.
Does
Most
AMR?
agencies have gone to it. It's
It
basic
just says
AMR
it's
schedule.
12-hour shifts,
Yeah, sorry, I don't have that information.
Do people, when they go out of state, is there like, do people ever take like a week off to go home? Is it mostly like you're staying in that spot till it's done?
I've had 2 people go out of state.
Oh, okay.
Last year, I had Stephanie went to Hawaii, which she
No
only
one's
went for a
come up
month.
for that.
And then Nathan went to Michigan and did 28 shifts in a row. Yeah. And not just shifts, I think he did 28 days.
Like I said, 1 month and was done, 28 days.
Wait, 28, like 12?
Straight
12.
And then it wasn't a very good experience because they lived on the outskirts of Michigan and they were working on the outskirts and the call volume. He said there's 5 hospitals like 3 blocks away, so your patient contact time is nothing. Everything was scoop and run. It wasn't a very good experience. So.
I'm just wondering about like doing.
And then when I found out for accreditation that we had to have state approval to send students to, and I contacted Michigan, and they said, yeah, we don't allow out-of-state students to come here.
Well, we sent you one.
After the fact.
So do you have to
Oh,
redo
yeah.
it?
Then I started drinking a bit more.
Do you have to redo it?
No.
Got it.
Shout his license, we're moving on.
Forgiveness not.
He's got his.
Idaho Falls kind of fell into my lap because we had an AEMT student last year that was finished class, was getting ready to do his clinical time, but he got a job in Idaho. And so he needed to set up a hospital site so that he's doing his Bingham hospitals where he's doing his clinical time, which he just started 3 or 4 weeks ago. And then he's going to do his internship at Idaho Falls Fire. And so I contacted them. I said, hey, we got an AEMT student who's going to be doing an internship. I need to have a contract so everything's legal. And so we did that. And then I thought, well, hey, can we send you some paramedic students? And he said, yeah, let me look into it. And then he's like really great to work with. He's like, sure. Can I have like some references from the sites that you send students to? So I sent him out a bunch of references, and he got glowing reports from LFA, Eugene, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, we'll take your students. So I thought it was neat that he did his due diligence to make sure we're not sending him shit students. We're not just some mom and pop paramedic school that, you know, here you go, here, I'm here to ride. So it worked out good, and then he's like, yeah, and let me know if your students need any help finding housing. If they start looking, I can maybe help out with that. So I was like, this is awesome.
What's their scope like?
I will post on Moodle their protocols, and they sent me like a spreadsheet of all the medications that they give and all the doses and stuff. I'll post them.
Sweet.
Looks like a great opportunity. So, and they do 4896s, and he's like, we don't really allow students to work more than that, and some try, and I'm like, well, just treat them like an employee. If you're gonna let an employee do 72 or 96, then fine, and then you monitor and make sure they can drive home safe and all that stuff. Then South Carolina, I worked with a guy who started working in Florence. He was our MIH medic. He was our first MIH or mobile integrated health system community paramedic guy that we hired right out of, and he came from South Carolina. Super guy. It was like, once we found him, we're like, we need to hire him. So he came from there. It's Piedmont Medical Center. It's a hospital ACMS system. Just talking to him and talking to the medics there, they're very progressive. They have, you know, push dose antibiotics for sepsis. They have sepsis alerts, stroke alerts, MIs. He's like, yeah, if you don't get a 12 lead within the first 5 minutes of a chest pain call, then you're looked at, and you know, there's accountability to the medics to make sure they're really aggressive. Looks like a fantastic site. We got a contract from them. It's still in legal. We keep pestering our legal to approve it, but it looks like it's going to be fine. Grant had some questions that he wanted to clarify with the contract, but it looks like a really nice site. It's in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So yeah, and they were willing to take 5 students. So it's a neat different system.
What are shifts?
I wish I could go to each one of these sites and do a ride-along so I can give you guys better confidence, but I don't know anything about Idaho Falls, South Carolina, Atlanta. We haven't sent any students there, so a lot of you guys are going to be our guinea pigs if you decide to go there. Yes?
When are we making this decision, like putting?
I need to know by today. No, just kidding. We will put out on Moodle, I'll post, let's do this. So I created a form, on Google form, that you guys will go in, put your name in, and pick your first, second, third, and fourth. Please don't pick Eugene, like somebody did last year. It's very frustrating. So pick your 4 choices. and then submit it, and then we'll find out where we're at. I say end of the weekend. What do you want to do?
We'll post it. It's already created. We'll just open it up. And then you
I'll
guys
open
can
it up,
submit
and
it
then,
now.
do you want to give them a deadline? Need to know by,
Yeah, how long are you guys need? Can you do it by Friday? Can you decide what you want?
Do the
You're just giving
weekend.
us your choices. So
By
Not making any
End of
commitments
weekend?
yet.
you're not making the.
let's do it by the end of the weekend.
You're not doing the shift. You're just creating the location that you want to go to, so that we can
Plan it.
plan it out. So Sunday night. Decide on
Will
where you
we
want to go.
know?
Yeah,
Sound
it's
good?
gonna take a little. Chris wants to ride at Western Lane, so let us one spot gone, sorry. Sorry.
So if we submit it by, you said Sunday night,
Mhm.
when would we know where we're going?
We'll sit down and I'll do the spreadsheet for it immediately.
Yeah, we'll look at
And
it.
we'll have a chance to talk in the next
Okay.
couple of days after that.
Tuesday or Thursday.
I take check or cash.
What about Girl Scout cookies?
I'll take Venmo.
You
pay.
take personal check?
If you go on South Carolina or Atlanta, they're running 4-hour shifts, but back to the same, do they do 12 hours and then you take a day off? They do like mercy flights and do 3 on 4 off, 4 on 3 off?
I'll find that information out, I don't know.
And then for out of state,
Sorry, I didn't do it, like I said in my notes, I wanted to do a lot more research, but it just, my life's been too busy. So.
for out of state sites, except for Idaho Falls, which might help with accommodation, it's really up to you to find like a Airbnb or, I mean, what has worked for students in the past that's,
So one of the things
Not
that,
super
that I've
expensive.
seen work really well is you, especially if more than one, well, even if it's just one student, but especially if a couple students are going,
yeah,
it's worked really well to, well, sometimes the agencies will help with calling locations that are close by, but one of the things that works really well is getting a hold of apartment complexes
okay,
where people are trying to break leases a month early or 2 months early,
Yeah.
or they just need to fill a couple of months because someone left
yeah.
a couple of months early, so.
They got arrested.
And so that works really well. When I did my internship in Texas, there were 4 of us that went there, and 3 of us, we just called, I think we ended up, it was the 3rd apartment complex that we called, and it was, yes, there's this person that's trying to leave a month before their lease, but they didn't want to pay to break the lease, and
Yeah.
so we just subletted from them, and it works fantastic. We had a workout room in Austin in the summer, and all nice amenities, and it was fantastic. Like a little vacation.
I do a lot of vacation rental buyers, VRBOs,
Airbnb.
also do Rubicon. Instead of getting hotels, I rented a house, 3-bedroom house, we have 7 people going up. If you break it down per person cost-wise, so you can look at stuff like that, if people want to rent out their houses.
Well, I'll take it if it's just kind of for a month at a time.
Yeah, the extended time, you get cheaper rates.
Just saying.
I'm pretty
drunk
excited.
at 7 o'clock.
Now you're possibly gonna be able to take 9 to 10. I say, let's all vote for Chris to be EMS chief for Eugene Springfield. Yeah.
No.
Yes!
Nope, I'm staying. I'm staying, nope, nice try.
Oh,
So, this has all gone through the proper channels.
Like I said, it's one of these.
You talked to training, but you didn't talk to the chief.
No, the chief doesn't make that kind of decision.
Okay.
No. It's the person.
We
that-
just let her
the
think
person that you
she's
normally
made it.
email is the person that makes the decision,
Okay.
and I may have just kind of end around that person.
There you go.
But they're gonna make it so they're gonna make it seem like that they're taking stuff off that plate and letting me have it. That's work for that person. Now, when you email, you may be emailing me, and then I will respond to you.
And I did send another email to Hawaii to see if they would take people. I haven't got a response yet.
Andrew.
Any other questions on internships?
You just stressed out Andrew a lot. Because you're like, Mercy, Honolulu, Atlanta.
South
what are you
Carolina.
Dude, I'll go down there myself. Fuck you, I need you.
Yeah, so last year when I was getting out-of-state sites, I was like, yeah, let's do it. All I need is a contract. All I need is a contract. And then we went to that little workshop, and accreditation said, okay, not only do you have to have a contract, you need to have a written letter from the state that you're sending students to, that they understand and recognize that you're sending students there. Then the physician advisor, I need a copy of their license. I need a letter stating that they're willing to be an assistant physician advisor to the student. I need a CV, their whole work history, or basically a resume from them, and I need all this information. So I used to have to pull that hair before last year, and now I don't. So it's a lot more work now getting these out of state sites.
Just make it worth it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't care if you do it or not. I just want you guys to have a good experience. So, and whatever is good for you. Like last year, hearing Nathan and his Michigan experience, it's like, damn it, wish it would have been better. And so it is what it is.
Sweet.
And I wish I would have sent, I'm not gonna say that.
Someone.
I wish I would have sent any one of you to Hawaii last year. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I wish you would send me too.
Because, you know, it's our first, that's our, you know, it's like a first impression.
Yeah.
First impression of a college, you send,
Your best.
yeah, so,
Yeah, that's
I don't know if that screws for this year or not, so we'll see. I don't mean to speak negatively of any.
Send your best.
Almost.
I do. I'm okay doing it. I'll speak negatively to the students. They all know it. I have no feelings.
Toast.
And now
As you
can.
drown them in Monster.
And they work with you now, so there you go.
No, we'll hire anybody. Like I said, you're all welcome. That's why I'm trying to create spots, so you can all come join me.
Sweet.
We're just gonna rock, paper, scissors to see who comes work.
Gotcha, Mons.
So,
Like I said, we'll hire anybody who wants.
how many people are willing to go out of state? With your hands up, going out of state, how many for Idaho Falls? How many for South Carolina?
It's rock, paper, scissors. I probably
How many
won't
for
win.
Atlanta? Wow, that's pretty sweet. Huh? One more?
How many for Eugene?
Springfield? How many for Eugene Springfield?
Oh, come
Oh,
on,
wait,
really?
pity. I'll give you
Some
pity.
people have their
man.
hands up the whole time. That doesn't make any sense. I'm really
If
excited.
it goes
I
through
haven't
the way
had a
that
lot of
you
experiences. That's
have
what-
advertised it now.
Like Medic 16? Yeah, not so much.
No. Can we put that caveat on our list? Like,
Not medics.
No, like 16.
under the current situation?
Wait.
If it's 2 at 16,
If it's 2,
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
If it's,
9 or 10.
if the
throughout.
changes implement, then it's a higher priority
So we,
on my list.
I mean, we kind of had that last year with,
Just noted, there's a place you can put comments, actually, just note that in your comments.
Okay.
Rebecca, who went to Mercy Flights last year. She was kind of on a slower ambulance. It took her a little bit longer. And then she was able to move, her preceptor had a baby, so then she was able to move to a different preceptor, and then she got busier. Same thing with Roseburg. I had a guy down there that had all of his calls except for 6 respiratory, and he was driving down there, and so I'm like, I got a spot at LFA, it's closer to home, but it still took him many shifts to get his 6 respiratories at LFA. So, like,
I'm not great with
300,
respiratory.
400 more hours.
300 hours, seriously.
Respiratory is the hardest one to get. It takes the longest to get your respiratory calls.
90% of those respiratory calls that you get are at night.
When you're running 24-hour shifts, how do these station arrangements work? I mean, do you have a place to sleep? You just pull up on a
Outside,
couch?
get a tent.
Sleep in the car?
Who sleeps?
Yeah.
What, you think that's all we do is sleep all day?
At Medic 16, if that's where
True,
you're going?
true. Medic 16, they sleep all day and night.
I got in trouble.
Depends on the agency. Depends on the agency.
I don't think there's any agency that does system status for 24 hours. So each is gonna have a station. They should have accommodations for you, whether it be a couch. Western Lane, we just created extra beds for students, so we've got an extra little room for you and stuff, so.
Eugene Springfield, LFA, both, and Bend all have bedrooms. Actually, I'm not 100% sure on Bend, because they
They may have one or two of their stations that still have dorms, but we all have full bedrooms. There's enough bedrooms for everybody.
You don't do the curtain thing anymore?
No, the Station 4 dorm was renovated after the merge, which is a bummer, because it was fun.
Slumber parties.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like, it all depends on who you were there with. I mean, you're laughing and throwing stuff over the curtains, and you hear somebody's CPAP machine going all night long. And so you'd walk over and you'd kink it for a while. Like everybody had.
If you wear CPAP, bring it with you to your internship, because I've had students sleeping next to other people, and the guys don't like it. They're like, okay, you need to move to the other side of the building.
See,
Cool. Well, I'm hopeful that we can get every one of you into at least your first or your second pick. I'm hopeful of that, so hopefully. And I guess you can send a personal message if you don't care. Like if you're going out of state and it's between Atlanta, Idaho Falls, and Carolina, and you really don't care, maybe you send me a note. You know, I'll take either one of those three. That might help the decision process. But there's also a place on the form at the bottom if you have any comments like that, like you really don't care, or if you have additional questions, you can shoot that out to me. And I'll try to get a list of what the shift schedules are for South Carolina, Atlanta, and the other sites, just so you guys can see that before the weekend at Seattle Comic Con. Always working for you. Any other questions? Comments? Complaints?
no complaints yet.
It wasn't bad, it was too costly. He said you guys were gonna cost me.
Were you ever able to get in touch with West Virginia?
No, never found a contract. Although, yeah, I won't say anything. I just got an email from the chief of Pittsburgh. And he's like, hey, can you resend me the contract? Our legal wants a working document. I'm like, okay. Now do I tell
They
him
need to
that?
talk to their boy up at state.
Now do I tell him that the state has a problem with all this? No. There you go. Here's the document. It ain't happening this year, just saying. I'm working it for next year maybe, if we can get a workaround. So if you go to Pennsylvania, you have to have an EMT license in that state in order to ride there.
Do you have to get reciprocity?
So you'd have to go through some sort of reciprocity, and then there was questions, the state doesn't know how to do it, so. They're all
That's great.
That's what you like to
Is that true, Annalise? Is that accurate?
100% true.
It's accurate, they're all screwed up, yeah.
So at least if you want to do it still for next year, just feel free to fail this year, take it next year again, and then you can go to Pittsburgh.
I think every class deserves to have an
Yeah, I'm
Annalise.
done holding my breath for the great state of Pennsylvania.
I will say that I'm really proud of all you guys, and I'm happy to send any one of you out of state. You guys are all going to be great representations of the college.
Oh, thanks.
Except
I'll
for,
build you up and he'll break it down.
except for 3 people that are sitting somewhere in that table there, but we won't say which 3 people it is.
I'm confident it's not on.
Thanks.
Wow.
Wow, Mons. Bold statement.
Okay, Mons.
Should we do a neuro assessment on
I
Mons?
was gonna say, maybe. I think Mons needs a lot more than just a neuro assessment.
Hey, Corey.
He has to go.
He's busy choking.
He's trying not to choke.
Next term, can we have like a full discussion on what constitutes calls? Like, what's a cardiac call?
Oh,
Yeah.
please, Lord Almighty, I do not want
That
any
would
more
make
texts
my
from
life-
Darrek.
Yeah, we will. Part of it's in the handbook that you're going to get related to internship, but we do need to have that discussion. So,
How skewed
you
the
guys
data?
need to make sure that you are not trying to make a call a certain call,
Don't be cheaters.
right? Like if dispatch dispatched you to difficulty breathing and you show up and it's a cat bite, it wasn't a respiratory call. Right? If someone was having difficulty breathing and you show up and it's because they were vomiting all night long and so breathing hurt because they'd been vomiting all night, it's not a respiratory call.
And if their heart rate's 130 because they've been vomiting all night, it's not a cardiac
It's not a cardiac call. So we'll have to discuss that to make sure, but you just have to keep some of the things in mind. And there's also, you can't take the agency's word for what it is. Like, for example, the agencies will sometimes say, this is an ALS call, when it doesn't actually meet the ALS call requirements that we're under. The agency's calling it an ALS call because then they can bill for ALS and not BLS. So they have certain parameters that they dictate what ALS is related to billing. That's not necessarily what ALS is related to your internship. So we'll just have to make that very clear so that you guys
You can't check off 2 patient criteria with 1 patient, like you have somebody with a decreased level and altered mental status because of.
No, you sometimes can.
Like they have congestive heart failure.
If you had somebody that
No,
actually.
no. You can't have 1 patient that counts in your respiratory and your cardiac.
Because a primary impression.
You need 50 ALS patients in 4 categories. And
That's
they
what I'm
can't be
saying,
the
is
same.
if you had an altered mental status patient, it was when you're like a neuro, but.
Also, it's
they were,
cardiac.
they
No,
had
remember that FISDAP thing that I did?
Yeah.
Where you have,
So that's saying one
so
patient
one
can
patient
count for
can count for 2 on that. It doesn't count for 2 on your internship because
On your
state
patient
law,
call count.
because state law doesn't allow it.
That's fine.
So it counts for 2 on the complaint section of
Yeah.
your total complaints that you get, that you have to have in total. But you have to have independent patients for those.
So you have to pick, if you have a patient with 2 presentations,
No,
you just pick the
Underlying cause.
he'll pick based on what's most appropriate for that.
So like one of the common ones that we got last year was, you have an overdose patient that needed bagging and airway management and stuff like that. People try turning that into a respiratory
It's
call.
not a
That
respiratory
is
call.
not
It's
a
a
respiratory call, that is an overdose call, that is a general medical call. And so, just because you treat one thing, that's not the underlying cause. Respiratory call would be your asthma calls, your bronchitis calls,
Is
stuff
it
like that.
RSI a respiratory call?
What
Not
about
depending on the cause.
That,
COPD.
because you're not gonna treat, I guess you're gonna treat the C. I don't know which one that would fall under. 'cause
RSI is a
Depends
treatment,
on
not
whether or
a
not you're treating
assessment,
for a
and
chest pain
cause.
Am I? Or pulmonary edema.
Well, I would
breathing problem.
If you take over somebody's airway and
Right.
you're
Depends on what their-
somebody's airway,
depends on what
you
their
check
major
that.
problem
That
is.
should be a, but see, is that an airway
But is
call
it
or is that a
trauma?
respiratory call?
But the underlying cause was trauma, so
Or a stroke.
or stroke.
That's the one I go back for and trip.
If you go out of state on your days off, besides studying a lot, can you do whatever you want?
No,
Yeah,
just study.
don't get yourself in trouble and don't
Nice try.
cause us problems.
and let's do whatever she
Don't
wants.
wear your Lane EMS shirt
And go to the bar.
and party all night.
Okay.
But wear your McKinsey Fire stuff.
But yes, it's your time. It's your time when you're there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's just like if you did a shift here and then the rest of the time is your time. So travel and see stuff and go
That's
climbing
exactly
and do things, yeah.
Okay.
Let me make this abundantly clear too. Just like when I got hired as a paramedic, it was my responsibilities to make sure my certifications are all up to date. It is your obligation to make sure your castle branch, your immunizations do not lapse and go out of date. So all of that stuff is your responsibility. If that lapses, you lose your TB, and you have to do the 2 tests while you're doing out-of-state tuitions, you're not riding until that's done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's, you guys need to keep an eye on your castle branch stuff.
Amanda, the other thing is that once you start your internship and you build that relationship with that agency, it's possible that they offer and or you are available through talking with your preceptor and they say that you can sometimes do an overtime shift here or there.
Okay.
And then you communicate with Darrek that says, hey, this has been offered to me,
Yeah.
right? And then it's okay to come behind the door, right?
Okay.
So they say, the agency is saying, this is what you can do.
Yeah.
And you get there and they look at you and you run a call for them and they're going, yeah, this isn't painful, the student is good. And then you go,
The student is easy.
yeah, is there an overtime shift I can run or another preceptor that happens to be available that I can run an overtime shift with?
Yeah.
And then they behind the scenes talk about that and it's yes. And then you say, hey Darrek, this has been opened up for me. Then all of a sudden you can get overtime shifts, right? I was in Texas and was supposed to be there for 3 months and I was done in a month.
Okay.
And then 2 months of play.
Just because I was able to build that relationship with those preceptors and they all opened it up for me.
So there's no limit that you're setting on our shifts?
No
the
limit from
college?
us, the limits
Okay.
will be from the agency and
agency.
what their dictation is on how often you can work.
Okay.
Right, so I ended up in a 24-48 situation and was working 48 24s.
On the
We
same
did,
note,
we did similar stuff with our students, yeah. So like, when I was on the ambulance, anytime I would work an overtime shift,
Yeah.
I would tell my student, be like, hey, I'm working an overtime this day. You're more than welcome to come, right, if you're not obligated to.
Yeah.
But I'm working, so if you wanna come right along and do your thing,
Yeah.
feel free to show up.
It's another reason to not suck when you get there.
Yes.
Right.
Because then they want to be around you.
Would not have extended that to every
Right.
student.
I've also
I mean,
had a lot of
I would have to
students-
all of you, but not that.
I've had a
See
lot of
that
students in
now.
Western Lane that got all their calls, had all their hours, but continued to ride for over a month
Okay.
because they wanted to keep getting that experience. And, yeah, and so, yeah, we're fine with that too. It used to be that once you turn your stuff into the director, like, here's all my calls, then that cuts you off, you're done. So we just say, yeah, you're not done yet, you're not done yet, you're not done yet, you just ride as long as you want.
Okay.
But now we could turn everything in and continue writing.
No, once you
Oh.
turn everything in, then we cut you off.
So hold that one respiratory to the
No,
end.
hold that one general
You
medical.
can get all
The
your,
one general medical.
whatever.
Like, you never wanna hold a respiratory.
That's what I mean,
General
you
medical,
can-
I
Just
go
don't
under
say you're
any-
done.
Yeah.
Just don't call us up and say, I'm done.
Right.
I think I'm done. Because then we do kind of a final, let's
Assessment.
look at everything and find out if you really are done.
I would also say that, talk to your preceptors, talk to your agencies. Hey, it looks like I have all my calls, do you mind if I continue to ride?
Yeah, just don't
They
tell
may
me how
say,
long you're.
they may have other, like, I may have Shemeka students waiting to ride in Western Lane, and be like, yeah, I really get this person in here, they need to start running this shit. I've lost people to ride a lot longer. You rode a lot longer?
Yeah, like, I think I wrote close to 500 hours. I just kept showing up, because it was us, the term was still going.
And
And so,
you lived in Mapleton.
yeah, and so, I mean, it wasn't a long commute for me, it would be like somebody here, just in town, that just kept showing up, and because it's like, I was just like, I'm gonna take every opportunity, because it was such a great learning environment. Like, I can,
Except for listening to Lone Sound.
right, except I don't listen to Lone Sound because of Darrek. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things, like, you just take every opportunity, if you have the financial ability to just continue to show up, and it's not a undue hardship on you or your family or something like that,
Get as much out of it.
get as
as you can.
much out of it, as much time, effort, that is what will make you the good paramedic. The thing that really drives me crazy is when somebody gets their last call midway through a shift, and they're like, peace, I'm out, see ya!
They leave the shift.
I was like, you know what, that is not,
Impression.
yeah, that's not a good impression, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we have it all the time, like, all the time, like, I
All
will,
the time.
I would not, like, threaten harm on any of you, ever, but it may get to that point if you guys were to ever do that, like, because, like, I'm becoming more and more vested in classes now, but yeah, I was like, as soon as, like, I would get texts, they're like, hey, dude, our guy just left, I'm like, what do you mean, they just left? They're like, yeah, like, guy's last call, he's out. I'm like, what? So of course I
A
texted
lot of those
that
people are like,
person.
I really don't care about EMS, I want a fire job.
Yep. Oh.
Needless to say, all those people are working at like Metro West, privates, they're not never getting a fire job.
Get him hot. Get
Yeah,
him hot.
use it as a learning tool for you guys. You have an opportunity.
I'll give you every key to success.
Is there?
Go watch the ambulance while who's watching the ambulance. Participate. That's what I've heard.
I would also just stress walking in and knowing your stuff. Be good, right? Because it opens up a lot of opportunities for you when you walk in and really know what you're doing, and not acting confused, being confident, and willing to learn. All of those things at once.
Yeah, humbly
Right.
accepting the preceptor being absolutely dead wrong on stuff and how you artfully say, well, I was just curious on this last call because you said this, but then it says right here, and I'm just trying to learn here, and how delicate the situation and balance that is of saying, yeah, you're wrong, this is what I know, just help me explain, but thank you so much.
Stroke the ego.
So, yeah, so if you come ride at Station 2 with me, we're gonna be expecting a lot of this when we walk through the hallways.
Cool.
Should we?
Yes.
This is a great time.
Are you guys terrified?
Yes.
No.
Okay, that's more like it. Like, yeah. I
Except
mean,
Mons.
Let's do it.
Mons.
Dude, I,
I'm
like,
solid.
Just
man,
like
I
neuro.
hope I get to assign people, because boy, Mons, oh, it's gonna be so fun for you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm gonna find like the most ruthless, hardcore
Like
person.
happy to be here today.
Be like, hey, guess what? He doesn't know how to do a neuro exam. Why don't you guys teach him?
Part of the.
3 o'clock in the
I
morning.
think his brain would implode.
Part of the preceptor training that we do is like, you know, it talks about, you know, like the first shift or two, the first 10 calls should really be more observatory or getting to see how the system works and getting used to the equipment, how the monitors work, their IV setup, all that stuff. But if you come in and you're like, hey, do you mind if I tech this call? I'm gonna be like, it's all you, you know. And it used to be at some of the agencies, that's what they expected. That you come in, they're like, okay, you're a paramedic, there's your patient, go get it. And you're like, I don't know the equipment, I don't know any of that. It should be a little more gradual process, but if you're confident and you know the equipment and you can do it, then you can just step up and go. And that actually is kind of impressive to see the students come in and do that. But if you can't, and you say, hey, can I just observe the first couple calls or get used to it, get my feet wet, that's totally fine too. He disagrees.
I completely disagree. Like you guys should be totally dialed, ready to go. I'll give you guys one call. One call, get your feet wet, and be like, okay, you guys good? Okay, good. I'm gonna sit here in the airway seat. You are 100% in charge, and I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna let you do the entire thing.